The Chiefs and the Texans players to watch out for: Patrick Mahomes, Kareem Hunt, Isaiah Pacheco. Wide receiver: DeAndre Hopkins, Travis Kelce, Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown. Marquise Brown makes his season debut after being hurt all season. And Chiefs also a player to watch out for is Noah Gray, Chris Jones, and Nick Bolton, former Missouri Tiger, and Trent McDuffie, who is one of the best corners in the league, but yet to get an interception until last week. But Mr. Interception, Jameis Winston, who threw it, who has been benched this week. Quarterback players to watch out for the Texans is C.J. Stroud, Rookie of the Year last year, running back Joe Mixon, wide receiver Nico Collins. Defensive players to watch out for: Will Anderson, who has 10.5 sacks and is good for 6th, and Daniel Hunter, who is good for 2nd with 12 sacks. Kick is at 12 on Netflix. Spread is, I'll take the Chiefs.
Have a combined 7 wins. All right, like I said, Mina joining us, but Dan, I'll come to you. Which team will get the 1 seed?
Oh, I think it'll be Kansas City. By all accounts, it sounds like Patrick Mahomes is going to play this weekend. They have to win 2 of their final 3 to get that 1 seed in the bye. I think if the thought process, at least, is if Patrick feels good enough to play and he plays this weekend versus Houston, I think they can win the game on the backs of their defense, first of all, and then he plays Pittsburgh. If they win those 2 games, he's going to get an extended break along with everybody else, because that game's on Wednesday. They would get, with that first round or that number 1 seed, they would get like 2 weeks off of playing football. And I think that's the philosophy that Kansas City's taking. I'd also say this. I think it's very clear that while Kansas City believes they're a very good team, they want no part of going to Orchard Park. If they have to, will they do it? Of course. But they want no part of going to Buffalo, specifically if Buffalo got in the 1 seed. I think Kansas City's mindset is get the 1 seed, get the bye. We've won a bunch of close games. The best way to not lose is to play less games. That means they only have to get two wins to get into the Super Bowl. I think it'll be Kansas City.
First of all, I disagree. I think Buffalo could end up getting the number 1 seed. That's number 1. Number 2, I love how y'all say they want no parts of going to Orchard Park. Well, where did they win last year in the playoffs?
They're saying last year.
So they won last year there. Listen, you got Hollywood Brown coming back. You know, you obviously got Worthy there. You've got Pacheco. You're looking at Patrick Mahomes. Travis Kelce is still there. Contemplate retirement, according to some reports.
They want no part.
I don't know how serious that is. I'm just saying, listen, ideally, no. You'd rather play on your home turf than go to Buffalo. But it's not like the Kansas City Chiefs are walking around, oh, my Lord, we have to avoid Orchard Park. We have to do everything that we can to avoid Orchard Park. We don't want any parts of that. Excuse me, they're the 2-time reigning defending Super Bowl champions who went through Buffalo and Baltimore in back-to-back weeks to get to the Super Bowl last year. So I'm looking at it from that standpoint. But I will say this. New England twice and the New York Jets, I don't expect Buffalo to lose another game. I expect them to win all 3 of those games, whereas I could see Kansas City losing one of their final 3. The tiebreaker will go to Buffalo, right?
No. If Kansas City wins 2 of their final 3, because Kansas City is up 2 games.
Okay, so if Kansas City wins 2 of their final 3 games.
They're in no matter what Buffalo does. Or they're the 1 seed.
I appreciate the correction. Okay, I got you. I understand that. I just think that Kansas City's going to lose 1 of their last 3, and Buffalo's going to win all 3 of their last games.
Mina?
All 3 of their last 3 games.
Yeah, I could see them losing 1. I don't see them losing 2, so I think that lead's going to be insurmountable.
Okay.
But to go back to your guys' point of disagreement there about going to Buffalo, I agree with Dan. A lot of it is about style. At the moment, the Buffalo Bills are a vastly superior team at the line of scrimmage. Their run game is both efficient and explosive. They are grinding teams down. This is not the kind of team you want to play, and certainly in cold weather, at home. We have seen what they have done to teams. So if I'm Kansas City, getting the 1 seed isn't just important, it's arguably necessary to get back to the Super Bowl. And I think they're going to get it, to go back to kind of the question. It's also necessary from a health perspective. I think Patrick Mahomes is going to gut this out, but he really could use that bye to get that ankle healthy, because I think the difference for Kansas City in the postseason, if they do, win some of these games against teams like Buffalo, it could very well come down to Patrick Mahomes' scrambling ability, as it has so often in the playoffs over the years.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And it's not just Patrick who needs the break either. You don't think that Travis Kelce could use the extra week? You don't think that Chris Jones can use the extra week? So I think to Mina's point, listen, it's not just Kansas City for me, though, Stephen A. I don't think anybody in the AFC wants to go to Buffalo. I think if Buffalo somehow got the 1 seed, you can pencil.
Well, I don't want to go to Buffalo, and I don't play. I mean, you're breaking news.
Dude,
I mean,
awesome,
you're
man.
breaking news. I mean, come on now.
Awesome.
I mean, come on now.
If there was one city that I could choose to host an AFC Championship game, it would be Buffalo.
Okay.
Stephen A., I think I know yours.
For the Texans and Steelers today at 3:30. Quarterback to watch out for the Steelers, Russell Wilson, who had a great season coming off a season in last year, which he did not have a good season. A lot of times the Steelers will use Justin Fields as an option quarterback or something in short yardage. He is out for the game. Najee Harris is the running back for the Steelers. Wide receiver George Pickens is out. So we look at Pat Freeman as a tight end. He'll need to become big for the Pittsburgh Steelers to win against the Ravens. The Steelers player to play is TJ Watt. He's a player to watch out for on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Hold on, it would be the Steelers winning their division. However, Lamar Jackson and quarterback will make that hard, and running back Derrick Henry, who's been one of the top running backs in the league, probably two. Zay Flowers, defensive player Kyle Hamilton, who is one of the best safeties in the league. The Steelers beat the Ravens earlier this year, and it'll be another one today would take it. And the Steelers would be a sleeper team and a team that would win the division. The Steelers are still the sleeper team whether they win today or not. The Steelers hold the tiebreaker over the Ravens, even if the Ravens would win today. Notes for injured players: George Pickens is out, as we mentioned that. Justin Fields is the backup who comes in for short yardage is out. Nelson Aguilar is also out. A big one, and Rashard Bateman is questionable. He had 2 touchdowns in last week's games. Steelers at Ravens. Kick is at 3:30. The Ravens are favored by 6.5. Give me the Ravens 24-20. I'll take the Steelers in the point. Kick is at 3:30. Ravens are favored by 6.5. Notre Dame and Indiana let up last night in the first college football playoff game ever of the 12-team playoff. Notre Dame scored first to make it 7-0 on a 98-yard run, the longest play of the season, after there was no successful drives, after 2 teams thrown INT and 2 teams punted both sides. That was a touchdown to make it 7-0 and 14-0 after Jaden Thomas picked up in the second quarter. A field goal to make it 14-3. Another field goal to make it 17-3. Another field goal to make it 23, and another touchdown to make it 27-3. And he thought it was over. Well, it was, but IU got scored to make it 27-11, and then they recovered. And then they recovered an onside kick, 2-point conversion. But the next try at an onside kick was no good, and that's how Notre Dame loses. Not in a close one, really, though, but it will give you a little closer. Not in a close one. 27-17. Closest. The score was closer. That's Sam on Sports.